need vulnerability. So I will explain what I mean by that. Has everyone finished with this? I have got handouts afterwards, but some people like to take notes. So the way that he understands it, Gordon is brilliant, like I said, at taking these crazy things and making it so easy to understand. So there's something to adapt to is something isn't working. And it's very broad in this meaning. So the easiest way to understand this is thinking about toddlers, because they express it at such extremes. So for a toddler, something isn't working. No, you can't paint on the walls. No, you can't have those lollies. Mummy says no, and the toddler gets really frustrated. Why? Because they've just developed self-awareness, and why the hell can't I do what I want? I'm my own person, and so in comes frustration. So if we think of this as a roundabout, if I call it a traffic circle, it's just because I've learned it that way, because Gordon's Canadian. So there's frustration coming in, and it comes down the roundabout. And there's an exit down here that can be taken, and that exit is sadness. So in a toddler, kicking, screaming, eventually, sometimes, and not always, that rage and that frustration turns to tears. And if you've got toddlers, know that you've achieved something really significant when you get to that point. Or as an adult when we reach this point. So we get tears. From sadness. Now, actually, this is an important thing to note. If you have a man who doesn't cry, or you know men who don't cry, they don't actually have to be tears, but that sadness needs to be felt and acknowledged. So tears are better, but sadness can be still felt in the body. And with this acceptance or this feeling of sadness, we get a chemical release. So tears have been potent enough to kill a small rodent. I guess a neuroscientist probably did that test. Some small rodent was actually given tears. But that's an indication of the amount of chemicals that are in there and how potent those chemicals are. So we've got a chemical release. I'll start with chemical process. My last little point. And what this does in the brain, it triggers acceptance. So the reason toddlers have these tantrums, it's how they learn to adapt in the world with boundaries around them. And it's essential to our growth as humans to actually go through this process. And that's why they go through it so much when they're little, because it's actually developing their brain to be able to adapt to life. Chemical process triggers acceptance. Now, often we need to go through that several times for acceptance, for change to happen. So, the toddler's not going to, after one try at the supermarket, try and get some lollies. They're not going to give up after that one time, but maybe after 3 or 4 times, they're going to go, okay, this doesn't work anymore. But if we don't have the vulnerability and the ability to feel that sadness, that energy, that emotion, that frustration, let's get the blue one again. Oops. Comes back up here, and there's an exit up here, and that exit, we'll call it anger street. And so that the energy comes out in anger. If it comes out in anger and we suppress it, the energy goes somewhere within our body. And we don't go through this process, we don't learn. So if you have a toddler that, for whatever reason, they might not be with someone they feel comfortable with, they might have issues in their body where they can't feel sadness. If they don't go through this, they they don't develop, they get stuck in developmental delay, and we're the same. So we're meant to develop over a lifetime. It's constant growth, as a weekend like this highlights. You know, we go through, we go out. If we can't feel this, we don't mature as people. So it's essential to have that vulnerability. And that vulnerability comes in feeling safe. And often that safety comes in community. It's very hard when you're in your darkest moments to actually feel like you can hold yourself. I'll be sharing a few things that we can go through in that case. But, you know, that having someone to rely on and share the pain with makes a big difference to our ability to sit in that vulnerable space. So if it comes out as anger, we just go through again. If we don't get that vulnerability, we just keep going through the cycle, making the same mistakes over and over again. So that's how we develop. Put that lid on there before it stops working.